You know, it's been a while, right? Since the last time we had made a video talking about a top NHL prospect at the 2021 NHL Entry Draft. The first Why I Want video for this year was on Luke Hughes. Today we're talking about a guy who might, I say might, maybe, who really knows, might be one of his teammates next season when Hughes makes his freshman year debut with the Wolverines. Today's Why I Want video was going over a guy who probably has a pretty okay chance at going first overall, like a lot of the other guys in this draft, and his name is Matthew Beniers. Before we get things underway, though, thank you to those in the previous Why I Want video who commented Sabretooth. Yes, I did not forget about that, guys. Don't worry. We have ourselves another comment section keyword for this video if you want a chance to be featured in the next Why I Want video, the series where we go over 2021 NHL Draft eligible prospects, talk about what they could be, where they could go, what they could mean to a franchise, etc. Now, again, big disclaimer, this is not a super in-depth look. This is just a conversation talking about the hypotheticals and the correlations with teams over here. There's some very good minds on hockey YouTube when it comes to making scouting reports. I do not believe I am one of them. So, let's go over who Matthew Beniers is, a guy who is probably one of the more likely forwards to be taken somewhere near the top, if not at the very top. Beniers is a November 2002 18-year-old, 6'1", 174 pounds, a center playing for the Michigan Wolverines in the NCAA. He wrapped up his freshman season this year, but before we go over that and how he performed, let's just go over a little bit of the profile here. I said that he might be able to go somewhere near the top, if not at the very top, and some of the rankings over here on Elite Prospects showcase that so. His consolidated ranking, so the average of all the rankings that are over here, sees him as the 5th best prospect. Elite Prospects themselves has him at number 2. Future Considerations at 4, Neutral Zone has him at 18, which is the biggest outlier over here, I will say. But even though he's ranked 18th by some places, McKeen's has him at number 1. Dauber has him at number 1 as well. You also have Recruit Scouting, seeing him as the 3rd best guy. Draft Prospects Hockey at 5. Smart Hockey, also a first overall selection there. 8th by the Puck Authority and 4th by TSN and Bob McKenzie, which is probably the most accurate out of all the lists because that is actually a list coagulated from the opinions of official NHL scouts. So, Beniers is one of the 10-ish kind of guys who could go first overall or who could go 7th overall, depending on who you ask. He's got a consolidated ranking that sees him go anywhere from first to as low as 18, but I doubt he goes 18, to be completely honest with you here. But Beniers made his bread and butter early on in his career because in 2018-19, 2 seasons ago, he was playing for the US NTDP's U18 team where he was a point-per-game player. Now, back in 2018-19, he was only 16 years old, and he was playing on that generational squad which featured the likes of Jack Hughes, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, Boldy York, and Alex Turcotte. Now, he didn't spend the entire year with them, he was mostly with the U17s, but as a guy who was 16 years old and promoted to playing with the U18 team, that generational U18 team, 2 years before his actual draft season, hey, that's a pretty big deal. He showcased himself early on that he was a solid US NTDP project. The next season, though, with the U18 team, remember, he is a late 2002 birthday, so he was actually in his last NTDP eligibility year this year. He was second on the team in points behind Thomas Bordeleau with 41 in 44 games played. This season, though, he's taken a big step up because he is now in NCAA hockey. And for the University of Michigan Wolverines, he was also a point-per-game player, again, as an 18-year-old. Now, we know the University of Michigan Wolverines had a boatload of freshmen coming in here. Bordeleau, Johnson, Beniers, Owen Power. You had all these guys coming in here as brand new players onto the team, and you have Luke Hughes who is going to join them next year, so yeah, things are going to be great for them. But Beniers was really good this year. The season's actually wrapped up now, so there's nothing really else to look forward to for Matty Beniers. He was good enough that he was actually called up for Team USA's World Junior team, where he had 3 points in 7 games played, but he wasn't really supposed to be one of the top offensive producers on that squad. I mean, when you're playing behind Zegras and Caulfield and Turcotte, Kaliev, Bobby Brink, etc., and those guys are all older than you, it's not really surprising to see that Matthew Beniers wasn't really the guy who produced the most points. But I will say, watching pretty much all of the World Junior games for Team USA, Matthew Beniers was a very energetic, crafty, intelligent, and just overall pest of a player to play against, which is crazy because that's not the normal kind of role that he plays with the NCAA's Michigan Wolverines, nor was that really the kind of game that he played with the NTDP a few years ago. he was in a position where they needed a specific role out of this guy at the World Juniors, and he went out there and he provided it. He could show off some skill when he needed to, but for the most part, he was just a very good body to have there in the lineup. Let's go over onto Dobber Prospects to see the scouting report for Matty Beniers, and this is kind of why he is so highly touted by some people here. This is the February 21 report written by Nick Richard. It could be argued that no prospect has increased their stock in this unusual season more than Matthew Beniers. He has excelled as a two-way threat for the University of Michigan in the NCAA as a first-year eligible, racking up what is now a point-per-game season. When Team USA was forced to adjust their plans for the World Juniors due to certain players not being available, it was Beniers that was thrust into a larger role, and he did not disappoint. He brought energy, creativity, and attention to detail all over the ice while playing big minutes for the gold medal-winning American squad, and he finished the tournament with 1 goal and 2 assists in 7 games. Beniers is a coach's dream, who already plays a mature and responsible game. And not just for his age. He's an outstanding skater with a powerful stride and quick shift ability that allows him to dice through defensive coverages and transport pucks through the neutral zone. Working hard is a skill, and Beniers is elite in that regard, with a motor that is always running high. He takes intelligent routes in puck pursuit, and has the tenacity to be disruptive on the forecheck, while also understanding when to back off and take a more conservative approach. Beniers is a heads-up playmaker who is more likely to make the smartest play with the puck, rather than the flashiest play. But he can make creative passes under pressure when needed. He may not have any singular overwhelming skill, and perhaps lacks the elite offensive upside of some other top 21 prospects, but he might have the clearest NHL projection. His all-around skating ability plus his advanced awareness and strong work ethic should help him become an effective two-way center at the NHL level relatively soon, and there is still plenty of runway for his offensive game to blossom even further. Beniers should be one of the first names off the board when the draft day rolls around, and has the potential to be a franchise cornerstone for whichever team is fortunate enough to land him. Now, I know that was a mouthful, but I think this write-up here by Nick kind of encapsulates the entire profile that makes Beniers such an intriguing prospect for anybody who is thinking about taking his name at the top of the 2021 draft, because this year, more than ever before, it's a lot more of a conversation as to what you value in your prospects, and just where exactly you're willing to go with what you pick. Because as we said, Beniers, while he's ranked first overall by some scouting outlets, he is not a guaranteed first overall pick. Luke Hughes, Owen Power, Brandt, Clarke, Edvinsson even, any one of these guys could go first overall. This draft isn't an undisputed Jack Hughes, Alexis Lafreniere, Austin Matthews projected number 1 guy. It's 10 guys who are not projected to be on that Matthews, McDavid, Lafreniere level, but who are all supposed to be pretty capable NHL projectable talents, and when you're thinking about who to draft first overall, you say, hey, who here has the highest ceiling amongst all the guys, Luke Hughes, the Edvinssons, the Clarkes, the Lamboses, and all them? Matthew Beniers is seen by many as that guy, because his translatable qualities, his work ethic, his awareness, the smarts he has, he is a very capable NHL projectable center, and if this is the kind of guy who could be a number 2 behind a Dylan Larkin, or behind an Elias Pettersson, or behind a Nick Suzuki, I guess, or a Kotkaniemi, then you're really going out there and acquiring what is a guy who, honestly, you could stylistically compare to Patrice Bergeron, not in terms of the talent and the quality of the talent, but just the stylistic play, the way he is able to see the game and acknowledge what needs to be done and do so in an unselfish manner. We saw it at the World Juniors when Matty Beniers needs to be an energy guy who's not really going out there to score a whole bunch of points, but just going out there to be a facilitating body to keep the puck out of your own net. Hey, he showed off he can do that role very well, and guess what? He's won a gold medal for it. Some have had concerns as to whether or not he really does project as a number 1 center, but hey, either or, if you have yourselves already a good center core or a good guy that projects to be number 1 on your center core in the future in your organization, then if you draft Matty Beniers, this guy could be a very good number 2. Just throw him out there whenever you guys need to win a shift, when you need to go out there and kill off an important penalty, or go out there and facilitate what may be a game-winning goal in the last minute. Beniers is the kind of guy that you would have out there on the ice. Not because he's the most dynamic offensive talent or whatever, but because at such a young age he already knows how to play the game well. And he makes other people better around him because his playmaking, his smarts, just the awareness that he has. It's really high up there. And it's all carried by that motor he has, because at the end of the day, this is a guy who knows how to play hockey, he loves to play hockey, and he does a very good job at it. So, talk to me in the comments what you thought about Matthew Beniers and this scouting report-ish kind of commentary video about him. He's already a point per game in the NCAA, by the way, so even though he may not be an elite offensive #1 point-producing machine in the future, I mean, he's still a point per game in the NCAA as a freshman, so that's pretty good, I would say. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down in the comments Deadpool, because last time it was Sabretooth, a Wolverine villain. This time it's going to be Deadpool. Trust me, the next time, hopefully we're not talking about another Michigan guy, so we won't have to go with the Marvel villains or the Wolverine villains going forward with this trend, but hey, that's our keyword for this video if you want a chance to be featured in the next Why I Want. Aside from that, though, tell me in the comments what you thought about Beniers, this topic, and the conversation as a whole. I hope you enjoyed this video. So, Ash Rolls 99, and bye.